Hello everyone, this is Darcinovia here. This is my review on another one of these digest comics. Now, these comics are, they can range from really bad to mediocre on average. And there's a few ones I did, rate slightly above average or above average. Now, what do I think of this one? Now, the plot of this comic, it takes place right after the season 4 finale of Clone Wars. So, if you are hungry for more Darth Maul stories, and you've seen all of TCW, well, there isn't that many stories featuring Darth Maul in TCW. And there are some comics that were released, like this, Son of Daltamir, which I won't review, Death Sentence, and of course, there's some other stuff as well. So if you're hungry for more Darth Maul related stories, I think this one may fill in that gap for you. Now, what do I think of it as a story on its own? Because, I'm not a big fan of TCW. I don't think it's a bad story, considering that it's tied to TCW and it uses TCW's lore. Now, what do I think of the explanation for Darth Maul surviving? To be honest, it still makes no sense to me how someone who was considerably weaker than Darth Sidious, considerably weaker than Dooku, survives getting cut in half. And all it took for him to sustain himself is his rage. There's so many more powerful Sith Lords that have suffered the worse wounds than Darth Maul, or wounds that were, nowhere near as bad and they died. It's just Darth Maul is not a powerful Sith Lord compared to the likes of Darth Bane or the likes of, Nihilus or Scion or etc. Of course, I'm using more comparable examples. It's like, even Starkiller, assuming you believe, that the Force Unleashed 2, it wasn't Starkiller, even his injuries was worse than Darth Maul. Yet he somehow, he was I don't know. I still don't buy the explanation of him surviving. It makes more sense. It does, answer an unanswered question that TCW gives us as soon as he appears, but the explanation still doesn't make any sense. And the fact that it's in a obscure comic that most people in the EU community probably haven't even read, is another thing that doesn't suit well with me. If this comic were more accessible, I would buy, be more accepting towards the explanation, but not many people are going to go through the trouble like I am to buy these. Now, if you're a Darth Maul fan, is this still worth reading? Of course. If you love the character of Darth Maul, and you want more Darth Maul stories, and the ones that you already have aren't enough, this will, satisfy you. The art is pretty good, in my opinion. I mean, considering the art style is based on TCW, and it does feel like it's a continuation of, of the finale of Season 4. This generally does feel like a Clone Wars episode. And I kind of wish they would have turned this into an episode, because this done on screen would have been good, in my opinion. It would have been great. I know. Sith Hunters, I think, would have made a better Clone Wars episode than a comic. And I'm talking about Clone Wars in isolation. I give this, a above average rating. I think it's a good, TCW comic, despite being tied to it, and not to mention, a good comic if you are a fan of the character of Darth Maul. Though, if you aren't a fan of the character of Darth Maul, I wouldn't waste your time with this comic, especially if you value continuity. Next time, we're going to review another Darth Maul story, and it takes place right after Sith Hunters, and that is Death Sentence. How does it live up, Is it as good as the Darth Maul stories that preceded it? I'll let you know.